Good evening, everyone, and welcome to your annual member meeting. My name is John Tashiro, General Manager here at City Market Onion River Co-op, and it's just so great to see all of you join us virtually for our meeting. We're excited to say that we had about 415 RSVPs, and I'm sure many of you have hopefully been able to pick up the snack pack and the cider and are enjoying them with us right now. As part of housekeeping, we are using the Zoom platform. And so in case you have any tech issues, whether it be with the platform or others, you can certainly feel free to email us at membersupport@citymarket.coop. Alternatively, whether you see the card as part of your snack pack or on the screen, you'll see a helpline number you can call us at, or certainly email us as well. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Eric Boehm, our board president, take you through the agenda. Over to you, Eric.
Thanks, John. I'm going to walk us through the agenda for tonight. But first, I want to welcome everyone on the meeting today. Thanks for coming to our second annual member meeting when it's been in a virtual format. I think we're all looking forward to getting back in person and looking to see you soon. Right after this, we're going to be going into some fun trivia, and we're going to be doing a live interactive poll alongside that. We're then going to be jumping into board introductions of myself and my other 8 fellow board members. We'll then be hearing introductions of the 10 board candidates who are running in this year's election. Then we'll be presenting our annual Community Service Award, the Schramm Award. And then John and I will be walking through a presentation of the last year, which will really be sharing highlights and challenges from the last year. And we'll be wrapping up the meeting with a member Q&A.
So in just a moment, you will be seeing a number of questions that should pop up on your screen. Really just wanting to encourage members to participate in our trivia and to really test your knowledge about the co-op. And certainly at the bottom of your screen, you'll see that submit button. Make sure you press that to submit your answers. And part of that, we'll just give you a little bit of time and then rejoin you shortly.
All right, John, looks like our results are in. Question number one, which co-op location do you frequent most often? So we have 40% saying the downtown store, we got 44 saying the South End store, and 9% saying I shop equally at both. It's really fairly even.
Yes. So let's move on to our next question. How many years will the downtown store be celebrating this February? And it looks like we have about 13% saying about 50 years, and the majority, close to 88%, saying 20 years, and 0% for 10 years. And yes, the correct answer is 20 years. Well done, members.
All right, number three, which co-op location had a larger sales volume in FY21? 47% said the downtown store and 53% said the South End store. Actually, the downtown store had slightly more sales in FY21.
All right, here we go on to the next question. How many people are employed by the co-op? An overwhelming number of members picked 300 people. Well done again. That is indeed correct.
All right, and number five, how many member drives did the co-op host in FY21? 19% said none, 28% said 3, and 53% said 2. Wow, very informed. 2 is correct.
Wow, members, you're doing a great job. So let's go on to the next question. True or false? Members made up over half of the sales of the last financial year. Once again, an overwhelming number said that was true, and indeed, it was close to 70%. Well done again, amazing.
All right, number 7, how much was raised for local nonprofits through Rally for Change in FY21? The vast majority at 81 said 215,000, and that is correct.
Here we are with our 8th question. How many curbside orders were fulfilled in the last financial year? Now, this is really interesting to see. We have about 16% at 100, 34% at 600, and 50% at 1,000. Actually, the correct answer is a little over 600. So those 34% of members, good on you. But yes, an absolutely key part service that we needed during the pandemic.
So number 9, which of the following did not happen in an FY21? We hosted our first virtual cooking class, 19% said. We appointed 2 board members, 41% said. And we received an EPA Green Chill Award, 41% said. It was actually the EPA Green Chill Award that didn't happen in FY21. But John will say a little bit more about that later in the meeting.
And now we're on to our final question. I plan on voting in this year's board elections. I have to say I was hoping it would be 100%. Obviously, the vast majority was saying, of course, I love participating in co-op governance. And 6% that said, I already voted. That's amazing, fantastic. And then a small percentage thinking about whether they'll do so. As you can imagine, every member vote matters. So really wanting to encourage all of you to vote in this year's elections. With that, once again, thank you members for participating in our trivia. It's been great to really test your knowledge, and no surprise, members are so well informed. Thank you. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Eric.
All right, thanks, John. Again, I'm Eric Boehm. I'm the board president of City Markets Board. We do monthly meetings. We used to do them in person, but since the pandemic, we do them virtually. And board meetings are open every month, are open to any member who wants to come. So I encourage you all to attend one of our future meetings. So going into introductions, I'm going to introduce my other fellow 8 board members tonight, and you'll be hearing pre-recorded videos from them. Every year in elections, which are actually starting today and running through October 27th, you, the members, get to vote on who's going to be on the board. Also this year, we had 2 unexpected transitions of board members. We had 2 board members who moved out of state for career opportunities and family opportunities. And that really provided the board with a great opportunity to really round out our board and add 2 new members. who've brought great kind of different perspectives with them that have really benefited us this year. And for myself, again, I'm the board president. I've been on the board for 5 years. I've been a member of the co-op for 7 years. And what I really love about the co-op the most is that it's locally owned and that it's such a key partner in our local Vermont food system. And with 2 kids here, it's a great place for us to come and get healthy, sustainably grown food. So without further ado, here are my fellow board members.
Hi there, my name is Joanna Grossman. I'm the Vice President of City Market. I've been on the board for a total of 7 years with a 1-year gap. I've been a member of City Market. I don't know how long, but I will tell you that my member number is only 4 digits. And I love City Market because I love that it feeds the community in every way. And thank you all for being here tonight.
Hello, my name is Rubin Jennings. I'm a member of the City Co-op. I also serve on the board in the position of secretary, where I've served for 9 months. I've been shopping at Vermont co-ops for about 18 years. I like the bulk section. I like the co-op's commitment to a living wage, and it's a pleasant place to shop. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Kristina Sweet. I recently became board treasurer. I've been a board member for almost 2 years, and I've been a member of the co-op for 9 years. I love City Market because I can shop for delicious local food and support my community in building a more equitable food system all at the same time.
Hi, my name is Megan Diffenderfer. I've been an employee of the co-op for 4 years, a member for 3, and I'm finishing up my first year as a board member. What I most appreciate about the co-op is the ability to support our friends and neighbors financially by using our purchasing power to buy local products and getting to witness the positive effects that has across our whole community.
Hi, I'm Allison Fiore, and I'm a general board member. I have been on the board for a little over 6 years, 2 full terms, and then this past year I was appointed to fill a vacancy. And I have been a member of City Market for 11 years. What I love about City Market is the community. That's my favorite part. But I have to add that I also love the hot bar. It's pretty delicious.
Hi, my name is Jody Landon, and I'm in my 2nd year as a member of the board. But I've been a member of the co-op since 1976. I love City Market because when I go there, I'm reminded of the real contribution made by the staff and management and members to our community. I value being a part of that.
Hi, my name is Faye Mack. I've been a board member since 2012, and I've been a member of the co-op for 13 years. I love City Market because it strives to be so much more than a grocery store. It's the best grocery store around, but it's also a local business that is owned by the community and is dedicated to serving the full community.
Hi, my name is Myle Truong. I've been on the board since July of 2021, so I'm still fairly new. I've been a member of City Market for a little over 4 years now. And the reason why I love City Market is because they support local nonprofits, farmers, and they provide delicious, nutritious food for our community. And I love food. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I love City Market.
All right, that was great to hear from my fellow board members. And right now we're going to head into the videos of all the candidates running for the election this year. So this year in the board election, we've got 5 openings on the board, and we've got 10 members running for the board. And I just want to say, we've talked to a lot of food co-ops around the country who struggle each year to get members interested in running for the board. And that's something that I really am so pleased that we have such enthusiasm among our members who want to run for the board every year. So without further ado, here are the 10 candidates running for the board this year.
Hi everybody, my name is Stefan Bachofen, and I'm running to serve on the City Market Board of Directors. The reason I'm running is because I care deeply about City Market's role in connecting community with locally sourced and healthy foods. In fact, My interests are really about building on the success of previous boards and helping build an even deeper sense of community between City Market and all of its stakeholders. I'm also interested in making local foods more accessible and improving the in-store and online shopping experiences for customers, employees, and suppliers. So I encourage you to review my application materials, and I'd like to ask for your vote and allow me the privilege to serve and to represent the membership and the stakeholders on the City Market Board. Thank you.
Hello to the entire City Market community. My name is John Davidowitz, and I am running for the Board of Directors. And I want to give a brief background on both why I'm running and why I'll be a valuable asset to the entire City Market community. I spent the first 9 years of my professional career developing integrated marketing strategies for Fortune 1000 companies, such as AT&T, American Express, Allstate Insurance. And while these experiences were vast and valuable, they left me feeling soulless and more like a marketing nomad at the end of each day. So after a considerable amount of soul searching, I rededicated myself to my passion. I went back to grad school and studied applied economics and food marketing and distribution so I could focus on what I love the most, organic and natural food. Since then, I've worn many hats in this industry, from market manager to farmers markets in New York City, store management and purchasing at Whole Foods, directed legacy organic food brands such as Arrowhead Mills, Maranatha, Almond and Peanut Butter, and DeBoles Pasta, and most recently, leading the sales side of the business for an emerging plant-based functional snack brand, Core Foods. My strong belief that healthy food system is critically linked to a healthy community is not unique by any stretch, and I'm sure you've heard that from many people. But my ability to further connect our food system in the community I love is. This is why I'm running for the board today. I want to thank you for the consideration.
Hi, everyone. I'm Allison Fiore, and I am running as an incumbent in the upcoming board elections. And I wanted to take my minute or so to tell you a little bit about myself. You can also read the answers I provided to all the questions in the board election pamphlet. So I am a single mother to 2 teenagers, and we moved here to Vermont about 11 years ago from New York City. And it was the best decision that we ever made. I really enjoy living in Vermont, and I'm really passionate about food, supporting our local farmers, eating local food, a sustainable food system, and equitable access to healthy food for everyone. And I think that's what really drew me to City Market and why I ran for the board several elections ago and have served 2 terms and am looking to serve a 3rd and final term. I've really enjoyed sitting on the board of directors and representing all of my fellow members of the co-op. So I hope that you'll vote for me. I would be honored and privileged to serve again. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rubin. I'm a member of City Market, and I've been a member for about 9 months, but I've been shopping at Vermont co-ops for about 18 years. I also serve on the board in the position of secretary. I'm an incumbent with City Market through my serving in a position of secretary. I'm an incumbent because I believe in City Market. City Market has shown a commitment to what I value. City Market is committed to the origins of where my food comes from. City Market is committed to Burlington. City Market is committed to a living wage. And very important also, City Market is a pleasant place to shop. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mariana Sears. Thank you for being here tonight at the annual meeting and supporting your co-op, our co-op. I am one of the candidates for the board, and I am here because I would like to help City Market continue being the great organization that it is in Burlington. I used to work as a reporter for the Burlington Free Press a few years ago, and it was right there on College Street, and I would come down every day for lunch at City Market. And little by little, I learned to discover what an awesome organization it was. Ever since then, I continue to come. I bring my kids. I shop there every week. It's just an awesome place. Not only you can access healthy, natural, organic, and affordable food, but also you can support your local economy. And most importantly, you can integrate and meet people that share common values of cooperation, sustainability, and of course, community. So I would appreciate if you vote for me tonight, but if not, no worries. The other candidates are amazing as well. And we are all here for the same purpose, which is make City Market an awesome place to shop and to create a community. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kristina Sweet, and I'm running for a second term on the board. I joined the board in January 2020, and even though I was only able to participate in 2 in-person meetings before we went remote, I can't overstate how much I felt welcomed by other board members and how excited I am to continue the work we've begun over the past 2 years. One of the new projects we took on last year was an exploratory committee to consider ways to increase member participation and interest in running for the board. As part of this work, we conducted interviews with board members from other co-ops to learn more about their election processes and how they recruit candidates. This led to forming a pilot board perpetuation committee that will offer our members the opportunity to learn more about board service and recruit candidates. I'm really excited about this opportunity since it will include co-op members in addition to board members, so stay tuned for more info about getting involved. I also completed additional financial training for directors last year, and I've recently taken on the role of board treasurer. I'm excited to work with co-op leadership and my fellow board members to evaluate the co-op's financial health and future return to profitability. I've spent nearly my entire career working in food and agriculture, from literally chopping onions to running a cafe, to managing farmers markets, to my current position at the Vermont Agency of Agriculture. City Market Onion River Co-op is a keystone of our local food system, but it's also a significant community resource. I look forward to helping to guide our co-op toward a future where our members and our community are even better served than they are today. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Myle Truong. I'm applying as an incumbent to be on the board of City Market. I've been on the board since July of 2021, so I'm reapplying and hopefully get it. A little bit about myself is I've worked at King Street Center, a local nonprofit in Burlington, for almost 7 years now. And I just love being part of the community in a different way. And I grew up in Burlington my whole life. My family came over as immigrants from Vietnam, and we grew up in a low-income household. And I feel like my voice is hopefully a different voice and one that will benefit, I don't know, for the community in the greater Burlington area. So please vote for me, and I'm hoping to be as impactful and insightful as much as I can be being on the board. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Beth Warren, and I am a resident of Burlington. I'm excited for the opportunity to be a candidate for the board of directors for City Market Co-op. I'm excited because, quite simply, I care a lot about our community. I care about the mission of City Market Co-op, and especially their support of Feeding Chittenden, which of course addresses food insecurity in our area. So I have a long resume of work as a board member. Probably the most relevant that jumped out to me was my work as a board member of Essex Town School District, because I was trained in policy governance. And I think as a new member, it would be really helpful that I already know and am trained in that process. Also think it's a great complement to my volunteering at Feeding Chittenden, where I'm an ambassador, which is just a community committee newly started to help support Feeding Chittenden and their missions. So I do hope, as a business owner, that my relevant experience with running a business will help with my perspectives on the board and all the challenges that they face currently and will in the future. So thank you for considering me and reading my application. And I do hope I can be of service to City Market Co-op and our greater community here in Burlington. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, My name is Ryan Welborn. I'm running for the board of directors this year at City Market. I've been a member of City Market for almost 2 years, and this will be my first time running for the board. I am a clinical mental health counselor at the Vermont Center of Anxiety Care here in Burlington and working my way towards licensure under the supervision of Dr. Foxman. I've been involved in nonprofits for the past 7 years, including an outdoor education program in the Santa Cruz Redwoods in California, as well as a post-incarcerated reintegration program in Boulder, Colorado. While not serving on the board for either of these nonprofits, I regularly attended board meetings to further understand the foundation of the programs. Being involved in the community has always been important to me. While in grad school at the beginning of the pandemic, I began a small organization that offered free yoga classes and meditation practices online. And we also brought single serving snacks to hospitals for first responders. I'm running for the board of directors at City Market because I want to be involved more intimately with the community and offer my perspective on how we can better support each other and the greater Burlington community at large. I am passionate about creating a community that leans on each other, that provides safety and alliance with all walks of life and different backgrounds, and that promotes acceptance, love, and care not only for each other, but for the world. Thank you for your consideration and voting for me to be on the board of directors.
Good evening. I'm Sam Werbel, and I'm running for the board of directors, and I hope that you will give me your support and your vote. I've chosen to run for the City Market Board of Directors because I believe that I have experiences and skills that would bring value to the board. I have been a long-time Burlington resident and long-time City Market member, and it would be a pleasure to serve on the board of this cooperative. As a local small business owner, I have a grasp of budgeting, I understand financial nuances, and I am familiar with legalese. These are all important skills that would bring value to the board. I also am familiar with the challenges as a business owner of trying to achieve financial benchmarks while also honoring certain ethical, social, and environmental responsibilities that we all hold in the 21st century. I hope that you'll consider my candidacy and encourage you to review all of the application materials for each candidate before you cast your vote from home. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you to all of our 10 board member candidates. Just fantastic once again to hear of the enthusiasm from those members. Now, just wanted to really move on to talk about the Don Schramm Community Service Award. In just a moment, you'll hear about the winner, but I just wanted to mention very briefly about Don Schramm, who I hope you've had the opportunity potentially to meet, whether it be at the co-op or in the community. Don has and continues to be an amazing individual, an inspiration, a community organizer, and a longtime cooperator here, not just in Vermont, but across the co-op network across the country. It's really an honor to be able to award this to an individual who has made incredible contributions in our community. And every year we receive a number of nominations, a difficult decision to make, but the board decided and is very honored to present this award this year to Fareed Munarshar for his work in providing food access, working with the People's Kitchen. And with that, here's a video from Fareed.
Receiving the Don Schramm Community Service Award is a humbling experience for me. I initially hesitated because Don's record of service to our community is legendary. And also because I'm sure there are other individuals in our community whose service to the community would more closely compare to Don, and so that's more worthy of the recognition. But I decided to go ahead and accept the award on behalf of the People's Kitchen, hoping that the exposure would lead us to opportunities which someday might have the same kind of impact as even just one of Don's many, many legacies in this community. As a mutual aid project that belongs to all its participants, the People's Kitchens, community of supporters, our donors, volunteers, partners, as well as the groups and families and individuals that we serve, have given more than I have given the project. So the People's Kitchen work should more appropriately be recognized as the work of our core team members, Lydia Diamond, Kat Ibrahim, Nate Lantieri, Bonisiwe Lutuli, Noah El Nabusi, Naomi Paduzzi, Margaret Joyal, Brian Sina, Jake Schumann, Vince Castine, as well as many volunteers. We are also able to sustain our operation only through the generosity of our supporters in the community and our collaborators in the movement. Vermont Worker Center, Migrant Justice, Surge Burlington, Burlington Food Not Bombs, Diggers Mirth Collective Farm, Tamarack Hollow Farm, BTV Cup Watch, and of course City Market and our fellow workers in UE Local 203. As our base of participants grew during the peak of the pandemic last year, I remember thinking out loud with our leader, Lydia, who's driving along our lockdown meal drop-off routes. You know, the world as we know it is ending, but somehow we're thriving. How could that be? What does that say about the world as we knew it? And now that question becomes like, do we want to go back to normal? Somehow normal has come to mean living in the richest country in the world, where every day, literally tons of perfectly edible food is thrown away. While every day, families go to bed hungry. Children grow up without proper nutrition, where having to choose between eating or paying rent is becoming the norm for more and more folks in our community, and where normal had ordinances that find groups who give people free food unless they are a licensed charity. Now, we rely on solidarity, not charity. We took our inspiration from the Black Panther Party's free community breakfast programs, as well as the decentralized structure of the Occupy movement. As we feed our neighbors nurture us. As we strengthen our community empowers us. Beyond simply alleviating hunger, we are part of a movement that seeks to confront the causes of hunger, which is inequality. We believe food is a human right. Our twofold mission is to serve a tasty meal to anyone who wants it, regardless of their ability to pay, and to help transform our food system from one based on artificial scarcity, inequality, and competition into one based on abundant prosperity, solidarity, and cooperation. Our deepest gratitude to Don, to the board, to all the members and all the workers at City Market for this recognition of our work. It's been humbling, it's been an honor, and we hope that you will stay tuned with to our work and to the work of other mutual aid groups in the area. Please follow our social media, People's Kitchen BT on Facebook and Instagram, or also on our website, www.peopleskitchen.rocks. Thank you again. Peace and solidarity.
Thank you, and once again, Fareed, for all your great work. If you'd like to learn more about the work with People's Kitchen, you can look at the information that's on your screen below. With that, we're going to be moving on to the presentation portion of our meeting. And with that is just a quick start with a snapshot of some of our successes and challenges we had throughout the last financial year. As members will know, our financial year begins on July 1st and ends on June 30th. As it relates to successes, one of the key things here is around the fact that we were able to exceed our sales forecast, which is certainly quite an achievement, and we'll talk more about that throughout the rest of the presentation. Another thing there that you'll see is around our Cot Street sale. It's hard to believe that in about 2 months' time, we'll be having our Cot Street sale again. But over the last year, we were able to offer it in not just the downtown, but also the South End location. There's nothing like the smell of that pine scent that you have after you certainly pick up your tree. Another is about the member drives. We had 2 across the last year, and we'll talk about that a bit more. It was a great success. And then certainly around our curbside delivery program. As members rightly were able to identify through our trivia, we offered this service, which is absolutely pivotal, I think crucial, in light of the safety concerns we had with the pandemic. As it relates to challenges, we had to close our downtown store during the February Valentine's Day weekend. This was really driven by a positive case we had among our staff, but I'm proud to say that I think we were able to navigate the situation very well, be able to prevent any type of spread, and that was for any other cases that we had throughout the year. Certainly, the navigating of the changing guidelines continued to be a challenge throughout the last year, especially as we were seeking guidance from a number of different sources, including the state of Vermont and the Department of Health and the CDC and others. As it relates to staffing, this is an ongoing challenge for us, but we've had staffing shortages, and we certainly appreciate members' understanding during this time. With those same staffing shortages, our distributors are experiencing a similar situation where they've had a shortage of drivers. And as you can imagine, with that, it's hard to transport products as frequently as we'd like to both of our stores. Moving on to the next slide that you'll see is a quick snapshot of our pictures that represent some of the things I mentioned now. You'll see on the top left-hand corner, the Cot Street sale, and right below that, really a picture of a local product. We were able to introduce 20 new local vendors over the last year, something we're so excited always to do. As you look at the top right-hand areas, it's around our member drives, and then certainly below that are the ways that we adapted to the changing guidelines across the last year with the pandemic. Once again, incredibly challenging, but I think we can all be proud of how we were able to navigate through this. As it relates to then how we really responded to the needs of the community, this really covers a number of different areas, whether it be around food access, educational opportunities, and how we work with our partners, and how we also address some of the needs that we see ongoing in our community. The first is around food insecurity. You'll probably hear me talk about this time and time again, but food insecurity is a key focus point for our co-op, as for many other co-ops across the country. We have a program, as many of you know, for Food for All members, so those people who are subsidized at a federal level, and they make up about 10% of our total membership, about 1,100 members. The great news is that we were able to increase the sales of our Food for All members by close to 7%, a significant achievement for us throughout the last year. One of the ways also we tried to increase the access around food insecurity was really about how we worked with our outreach partners and translated a number of materials into different languages. We worked with the Associations of Africans Living in Vermont and translated our brochures into 6 different languages, the most well-used amongst our refugee community here in Burlington, including those translated into Somali, Spanish, Swahili, Burmese, as well as others.
Jumping into curbside and delivery. In this last fiscal year, curbside really kicked off in spring of 2020. And in this last fiscal year, over 613 curbside orders were fulfilled. And of those 613, 70% of those fees were waived on. And fees were waived for Food for All members and seniors. In addition to curbside, delivery in the last fiscal year had 1,800 deliveries, with also for qualifying participants, 85% of the fees waived. And then for classes, really in the spring of 2020, when the pandemic was hitting, classes that used to happen in the teaching kitchen or other locations went virtual, and even in recent months have gone outdoors and socially distanced. In the last fiscal year, 2,269 people attended 124 classes. It's really great to see how staff had transitioned to meet the needs of the community by moving those virtual and outdoors. And all those virtual classes were free of charge. Also expanding access to those classes, in addition to being free, there were participants who joined those classes from as far away as Hawaii and Australia. And those classes happened with local partners such as the Intervale Center, Shelburne Vineyard, and Outdoor Gear Exchange.
As we shared earlier, responding to the changing guidelines in light of the pandemic has certainly had its challenges. But I think we did as good a job to try to navigate those complexities, whether it be around really appreciating our staff, making a number of changes equating to over 30 operational adjustments within the stores, receiving feedback from you, our members, our customers, and our staff. That included everything from reorganizing our bulk section, creating a new queuing system, as well as limiting capacity within our stores. I think many members realized that for us here at the co-op, safety was absolutely paramount. Our highest priority with the safety of you, our members, and our customers, and certainly our staff. And within that, we certainly want to be able to continue to monitor and be vigilant, recognizing that the pandemic is certainly not over, especially with the Delta variant.
And for member work in the community, as a board member, I always really love getting these updates in our board meetings. I think it's just such a great program to support the community and one that is really driven by you, the members. So in this last fiscal year, member workers completed 12,216 volunteer hours. That was with many of our 24 local nonprofit community partners. And that was equivalent to just a little under 6 extra full-time workers in our community. And in a year when nonprofits were really strapped for resources, having 6 extra staff equivalents in the community is just really a huge success. And that equated to an average discount of $1,225 per member worker in that year. And now we're going to hear from a few of those outreach partners that benefited from that program. Here it is.
Hi, my name is Karen Yakos. I'm the Executive Director at Locomotion. Every year, more than 100 volunteers just like you donate thousands of hours to support Locomotion's mission to make biking and walking a way of life in Vermont. When you give your valuable time to Locomotion, you're making your communities a better place.
Volunteers support the community at the bike ferry at the Colchester Causeway, which welcomes visitors from all over the country and in fact from all over the globe. At valet bike parking located at farmers markets and popular events like the Dragon Boat Festival and Somerville. As cone keepers to help ensure a safe bike path detour in 2020 on Pine Street and on Battery Street in 2021. Cone keepers also maintained a pop-up protected bike lane on North Ave in 2020, which provided an alternative to the bus while passenger capacities were reduced due to COVID, and way more.
Thank you to our loyal and talented volunteers. You keep us rolling.
Thank you, volunteers!
Thank you, volunteers.
Thank you, volunteers.
Thank you, volunteers.
Hi, my name is Angela and I'm representing Peyton Shannon. City Market volunteers are responsible for over half of our total volunteer hours from the start of COVID until now. These dedicated volunteers help us increase food access by providing more choice and a safer way of serving food, which involves pre-boxing groceries, serving hot breakfast, home delivery, and more. They help us to process bulk items such as fresh greens, cheese, and coffee from our local farms and businesses. They accommodate each visitor's needs with a smile and a positive energy that transcends all physical barriers. Most importantly, they bring their own personalities and talents to our daily operations, brightening up each staff person's day. Thank you so much for everything. Your efforts have helped us to feed over 12,000 people facing food insecurity.
Hello,
My name is Erica Marks, and I am the Director of Volunteer Services at Age Well. Our mission is to provide the support and guidance that inspires our community to embrace aging with confidence. We are so grateful to be included as a City Market community partner. At the height of the pandemic, the need for home-delivered meals increased over 30%. That meant that we needed a lot of new volunteers. With the support of partners like City Market, we recruited over 300 new volunteers. Thank you to our amazing volunteers. With your help, we delivered over 300,000 Meals on Wheels. This past year brought the unexpected, but with teamwork and your ongoing support, we were able to continue to meet the needs of older Vermonters.
It's so great to see the members volunteering in our community, and thank you for all your great work there. In the same spirit, I think you can all join us in acknowledging and celebrating all the amazing work that our incredible staff do each and every day. As you'll see in the photo here, our staff, in addition to really serving the community, were able to participate in a number of volunteering opportunities. This one called the Day in the Dirt, where staff were able to, once again, volunteer in the community, have a little fun, and also have some self-care. We have internally a wellness adventure program which staff were able to participate in and contribute to the community, but also win some fun and interesting prizes. I think another thing that we wanted to share as we reference slightly around the successes was that we introduced a new customer survey program working in partnership with our national cooperative grocers. This survey allows us to really capture feedback from our customers, as well as for customers to be able to highlight and appreciate individual staff for their great contributions and how they service them while in our stores. We've received a number of feedback opportunities from customers, and just want to share a handful of those with you today. This first one is from Addie. I hope you've met her. She works in our South End store and grocery. Just a fantastic employee, knowledgeable, always helpful, and as you can see from the comment, just someone who really brightens everyone's day. Thank you, Addie, for your work.
And for Anna, who works in the front end of the downtown store, she's just always so friendly and lovely.
And here we have Jay. He works in our downtown store, a longtime employee. I hope you get the opportunity. You've probably seen Jay around. He's always wanting to help you have a great customer experience in our stores. And so thank you, Jay, for all your great work.
And Jess, who's also in the front end of the downtown store. Jess is always friendly, helpful, and welcoming.
Here's Joey. I'm sure you've seen him in our downtown store. He's always roving the floors. He works and oversees our grocery department there. Thank you, Joey, for all your great work. So knowledgeable, so kind and thoughtful, and really always willing to help anyone in need.
And Michelle, who's in the south end, front end, just genuine in her helpfulness and enthusiasm.
And here we have Michael, once again, works in the downtown store and operations. You've probably seen him on the floor. Once again, someone who's very knowledgeable, has really led a lot of the work around our curbside delivery and always wanting to lend a helping hand to any of you members and customers. Thanks to you, Michael.
And to Tim, who works in the front end of the south end store. Tim is always friendly at the register, super helpful with any issues that I have.
And once again, that was just a small handful of some of the feedback we received from customers for our staff, but really just wanting to give a huge shout out to all of our staff who are working hard every day to best serve you, our members, and our customers. Now we're going to transition on to more of the business side of our presentation. And as you can imagine, the last financial year has been slightly challenging, and certainly we're seeing some fluctuation in terms of our sales and our general performance. And with that, I'll hand over to Eric.
Thanks, Sean. So here at the top of the page, you'll see the last 4 fiscal years starting in FY18. FY18 was when the South End store opened, and then FY20 and FY21 with the impact of COVID. And as a reminder, it was really right before the fourth quarter of FY20 when COVID hit. And of those most recent FY21 sales, 64% of those were to members, 39% of those were local. And as we saw in the survey earlier, just over half, at 51% of those sales were at the downtown store. And for local products, and a reminder of how we define local at City Market, and others have different definitions, but here at City Market, we define local as food grown or predominantly manufactured in Vermont. And as you saw on the last slide, 39% of all sales in the store in the last fiscal year were local. And that's $20.5 million in local sales. I mean, that's just a staggering number that I think really reflects just the great partner and support that City Market is into the local food system. And that equates to 3,000 plus local products on the shelves. And this last year alone, in a year with challenges, adding 20 new local vendors is really just a great achievement. And so for sales performance, this graph shows the last 3 years or fiscal years, and you'll see the darkest line is the most recent year in FY21, and you'll see really from July through February, most of the 3 years are fairly on track with seasonal variability that exists, and they all dip in February as that's the shortest month of the year. But what's really interesting here is in the medium shaded line, which was FY20, right before the fourth quarter when COVID was hitting in March, you see the huge spike going up. And that was, as we remember, people really buying in bulk and really stocking up at the grocery store. You'll also see kind of an offsetting corresponding dip in April, largely due to that stocking up in March and lockdowns and restrictions starting to come in place, and then leveling back out. And really FY21, this last year, really going back to following pre-pandemic trends and steadying out the revenue picture a little bit.
This next slide, it really references the traffic, or what I like to call transactions that are happening within our stores. One of the interesting things that we've seen as a trend over the last year versus previous years is a real dip in the number of transactions or people coming into our stores. If you look actually on a daily basis, which is something that you could possibly calculate from the chart, right now, we have seen over the last sort of financial year a dip of about 20% in the number of customers coming into our stores. That's pretty significant. And so as much as we see that dip in customer traffic, we certainly see an increase in the basket size, the actual amount of money that is spent per transaction, but not enough really to offset some of the previous year trends that we've seen. Moving on to some of the other work that we certainly do around the environment and the community, an area probably that we don't talk about enough, but certainly are doing a better job over the years to certainly share more of. So as it relates to our environmental commitment, this is an area that I certainly am always excited to talk about. So we certainly, as a grocery business, use quite a number of refrigeration units that emit greenhouse gases. And certainly for our downtown store, which uses a traditional refrigeration unit, there is an ongoing challenge to try to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And so with that, we've really made that effort and also trying to look at energy saving opportunities. And so for our downtown store over the last year, we actually closed the store at one point to upgrade the refrigeration system, as well as to put on cooler doors to once again to try to save more energy that our refrigeration units are using. I think another thing also to mention is around the fact that our South End store, and this was something that we put in place with the opening of the South End store, was we are the first business and organization in Vermont to be using a transcritical CO2 system, which essentially reduces the amount of greenhouse gas emissions by over 1,000%, because of the fact that we are using CO2 instead of what traditional refrigeration units use as a refrigerant. So from that standpoint, really just continuing to increase our efforts around how we can better be environmentally friendly, and certainly leave the place and our future generations in a better situation around the environment.
Thanks, John. It's great to see some of those upgrades at the downtown store, especially as we're approaching a key milestone there. We're approaching 20 years at that location. It's just a really exciting milestone and something John will talk a little bit more about later. But diving into the support for the community, so for community donations and sponsorships over this last fiscal year, there's over $57,000 of donations and sponsorships. There's $35,000 in seedling grants given out. And in Rally for Change, despite less visits to the store during COVID, $215,000 for Rally for Change going out into the community. It was really great using those sponsorships and other ways to partner with local organizations in the community. One of those is in the left side of the screen, partnering with NOFA Vermont to design the hats there. And that was really to go support Share at the Harvest program that they have, which is really about increasing CSA share access for low-income Vermonters. On the top right, City Market was a really proud sponsor of Burlington's first annual Juneteenth celebration. And in the top a little bit over, was City Market was proud to support Vermont Youth Conservation Corps' food security initiatives. And continuing with donations and sponsorships, they're really this year focused largely around making events or allowing events to transfer to virtual and hybrid events, focusing on meal distribution and food access. And to the right, you'll see some examples of that. In the top left, NOFA Vermont does an annual winter conference, which I've personally been to the last number of years. It's been a fabulous event, and they went virtual this year, and it was great programming. The bottom right, Junior Iron Chef Vermont, just a great opportunity for kids to make a connection to local healthy food and cooking. They went virtual this year and got really creative with their program. That was a great success. And then also, City Market is a really proud sponsor of Spectrum's meals that they provided throughout the year to the youth that they work with.
So here we are entering sort of the final stages of our presentation, and what better place than to really wrap things up than to talk about our members and our membership. So as you can see from the screen, we're almost at 12,000 members. And as you can see also the trend in terms of how our membership has fluctuated throughout the years. Certainly you saw a real growth up until financial year 2018 when we opened the South End store. And then over a period of time, a slight decline. But the great news is that over this past year, we saw a growth again. And this is really driven by a couple of factors. Certainly introducing some new member benefits, and I hope members have taken advantage of whether they be the quarterly discount days, as well as the monthly raffles that members are entered in, and then certainly the member drives that we have conducted twice over the last financial year.
And speaking of member drives, in these pictures, in the left picture, you'll see last October, in a month-long member drive, we received 270 new members. And then the right picture, just this past June, in a shorter 2-week member drive, receiving 123 new members. And speaking of member drives, October, which we're currently in, is co-op month. And so we're going to be doing a month-long member drive. And since it's co-op month, we'll be working with some other great co-ops, such as Equal Exchange, REI, and Cabot, in providing incentives to new members to sign up. And then for all of you who are members, if you renew your membership in October, there will be a savings coupon that you can pick up and use at the stores.
So as we look at the year ahead, there are a lot of things to be excited about. Certainly, as I mentioned earlier, we have our Cots Tree sale coming up. We are also celebrating, as members rightly answered, our 20th year in the downtown store, coming next February. So please stay tuned for some further details there. The picture on the bottom right, that black and white picture, is really when we first opened the downtown store. So just an exciting time, and hard to imagine that was already 20 years ago. I think also I'd be remiss to mention, when we were talking about things around the environment, over the summer, we learned that we have won our 5th Green Chill Award, which is awarded by the EPA for most improved emissions rate versus previous year. Once again, a very proud achievement and milestone for the co-op and how we have committed to our work with the environment.
And voting for the board. It was great to hear from the 10 candidates running this year. And I wanted to share that voting at the following link there is open right now and open through October 27th. In addition to being able to vote at that link, where you can also see bios and materials submitted by each candidate, members should also be getting the packet in the mail this week. And you also have an opportunity to vote at the kiosks in both stores. And so now we're going to be running or leading into our member Q&A.
So as Eric referenced, we're going to open it up to Q&A. And I hope members will provide your questions within the chat. If for some reason we run out of time toward the end, we're not able to address your question, we'd certainly like to ask you to write to our info@citymarket.coop. So with that, we're going to have our Assistant Director of Community Engagement, May Quilty, help prompt us with questions. So with that, take it away, May.
Great, thanks, John, and thank you everyone for your wonderful questions. We'll try and get through as many as we can in the next 15 minutes or so. And like John said, you're welcome to email info@citymarket.coop if we don't get to your question tonight. We'll get back to you. So the first one, John, I'll pose to you. Jane is wondering, are there differences in what is sold in the downtown store and the South End store?
Well, thanks, Jane, for your question. And indeed, there are. When we first opened the South End store, we wondered how much parity we'd need between the two stores, but over time, we have adjusted some of the product offerings between the two stores based on the customer feedback we received. So indeed, there are some differences, but certainly there are lots of similarities across the both stores as well. And we'll continue to adjust depending on the customer feedback that we receive.
Great, thanks, John. Next question, I'll also pose to you, John, but Eric, feel free to join as well. Crosby is wondering, he says, City Market is unquestionably the grocery business with the most commitment to our community. Is there anything specific that City Market is doing to attract customers and new members that might habitually shop at non-co-op alternatives?
So that's a great question. I think for us, certainly, we want to continue to maintain the focus we have on offering local products. Certainly working with local businesses. We have many opportunities where we could potentially make things in-house, but really have worked closely with local business because ultimately we want to help those local businesses thrive and really create a healthy local economy. As far as reaching out to new customers, we certainly use our various media channels, whether it be through social media, certainly through word, through mouth, and certainly working with our local community overall. We certainly work also closely with other co-ops across the region, and certainly here within Vermont, which obviously has the highest, I think members won't be surprised to know this, number of co-ops per capita, to always promote local options and the co-ops that might be in their area. So those are some of the ways that we're trying to promote ourselves, but certainly we're continuing to look at finding creative ways where we might be able to catch people's attention and be able to talk about, obviously, the benefits of shopping local and certainly supporting a locally owned grocery store.
Thanks, John. Mark says, you stated that member workers' average discount was $12.25 or so. That sounds like those workers spent an average of $10,000 each to get that much of a discount. Is that how much our member workers spend in the co-op?
So that's a great question. I must say that I know the numbers for this financial year around member volunteer work were around 12,000. In previous years, it can be high as around 17,000 plus. But as members will know, depending on the volunteer work that you do with predominantly our outreach partners, if you do volunteer 2 hours a month, you receive a 7% discount on all your purchases, excluding beer and wine. And if you do 4 hours a month, you receive a 12% discount, excluding beer and wine. And once again, we make the volunteering as easy as possible, and that you can really do a number of hours all at one time rather than to just wait monthly. But it really does average out to the numbers that we shared, but it certainly fluctuates depending on the number of hours that members have volunteered. So hopefully that provides you a bit more context. If you'd like to learn more, do feel free to, as May referenced, email us at info@citymarket.coop, and we'll be happy to spend more time with you to go into more details.
Great. And this one is a quick one from Linda. What are quarterly discount days?
Great, quarterly discount days. So Linda, thanks for your question. Always want to promote local products. So you'll be receiving information through the member newsletter and such, but 1 day a quarter. And as sort of a way to promote our local products, we offer a discount on those local products on that day. The amount of discount is, by no surprise, 8.02%. I hope I don't need to explain why that is, but we have started those over the last financial year, and we'll continue those. And really, those are based on purchases for local products only. Once again, the focal point of local being so key to City Market and River Co-op, as well as other co-ops, is something that we will continue to promote in sort of future years.
Thank you. Maybe this one can go to Eric. We have an anonymous person asking, what do you mean by renewing membership? I have been a fully paid member for 25 years. Am I not eligible for these member discounts?
Yeah, thanks. And so a number of members are fully paid in their membership, but a number of members pay, I believe, $15 a year, and that gets renewed roughly on an annual basis. So for those members who aren't fully paid, we were saying in this member drive, you'd be getting a savings coupon. For members that are fully paid on their total equity, maybe I'll see if John can kind of dive into what that is.
Yep. So whether you're a full equity member or a partial equity member, you receive the same benefits in terms of all the things that we have to offer. And whether that be on the quarterly discounts, whether it be on the monthly raffle and such. So I would say that if there are any further questions around this, we're happy to dive into it further. But as Eric mentioned, as part of our member drives, we are trying to encourage certainly new members to join, but also for members who might have partial equity to potentially move to a full equity status.
Thank you both. Linda says, I love how compassionate the Packers baggers are. Thank you. Any incentives for holiday hires?
Great question. So one of the things that I think at the co-op that we've always prided ourselves in is that regardless of the time of year, we really want to bring continuity amongst our staff. And so that remains the position that we have. But certainly as we look at staffing, and now staffing is quite challenging, although as part of our recruitment, not only are we just trying to get sort of communication out there around the opportunities, but we also have programs such as staff referrals, because we recognize that our staff who are working here at the co-op have really an inside knowledge and understanding of what it takes to really work at the co-op, and certainly to share their experiences. So from that standpoint, we are looking to continue to promote the opportunities we have here, but at this time, we won't be necessarily looking at any temporary workers or holiday workers per se. And that's, once again, an approach that we've been consistent around and really wanting to maintain continuity amongst our staff throughout the year.
Thank you, John. This one, I think we want to clear up a quick discrepancy, but Matt had asked in the chat and in the Q&A, what are the plans for reversing the 20% decline in sales from last year to this year, if I saw that chart correctly?
So as it relates to the sales decline, I guess I'm happy to essentially, and I think we're going back to the chart itself. So just for clarity, and I understand, Matt, that potentially the chart is a little confusing because the line colors look maybe a little too similar. But in FY20, we did see a pretty significant decline in our sales, especially because of COVID, really, where we had the bulking up of customers buying products in March of 2020, to then things really bottoming out in April and then gradually coming back. However, over the last financial year, we've seen more stability similar to what we've seen in previous years. But it is important to note that sales levels have not returned to what we had seen before as it relates to the number of customers that are coming to the stores and really the amount of money that customers are spending. So hopefully over time, and really it is somewhat dependent on how things continue to evolve with the ongoing pandemic. We are certainly trying to continue to promote and provide enough of a great customer experience in our stores, recognizing that we still need to be very mindful and vigilant of the situation we're in with the pandemic, but also to be able to have enough staff to continue to service the needs of our community and certainly our members and our customers. So I guess all that being said, if there are any further details that you'd like to understand, we're more than happy to meet with you and talk to you further. And so you can always feel free to once again email us at info@citymarket.coop, and we'd be happy to chat with you further.
Thanks, John. We probably have time for about 3 or 4 more. And we have a question from Liz, who says, if we still have a labor shortage, would it be possible to form a committee with the union and consider legislative solutions like defining member as a member owner to undo the federal legislation that defines us as volunteers who require cash payment?
Right. So I think I understand your question, but the one thing I think it's important to just note is that as members are aware, we have a union here at the co-op. And between the management and the union teams, we have a contract in place. The current contract is a 3-year contract. It actually ends as of June next year. So up until that point, we will operate under that contract. And certainly leading up to that point, we will be having negotiations to agree on a new contract in future years. In light of that situation, I think at this point, we have limited volunteers here in the store. The majority of our member volunteers really happens outside the store with our 24 outreach partners, which certainly provides a great contribution to the work of our nonprofit partners, and that remains our current stance. If we go back in a little bit of history, when we did have actually quite a number of member workers in our store, it just became really quite difficult to manage the member workers. And there was also some history around how the Department of Labor was raising some questions around that member volunteer work. With that said, Linda, more than happy to sort of speak with you further about this offline. And once again, I encourage you to reach out to us and we can certainly speak further.
Thanks, John. This one is directed to the board, so we'll have Eric start this one. How does the board think about the patronage refund versus the co-op's many other financial commitments? Was the co-op profitable in the last financial year?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I think we're all missing and wanting to get back to the years when members receive patronage checks in the mail. The board has been supportive of the fact that we aren't in the place to provide patronage refunds in years that we are unprofitable. And last year we were unprofitable. The unprofitability of the last few years is led by the expansion to the South End store. It took a lot of capital and loans to build the South End store. And that is what is really leading in recent years to unprofitability. And really, in this coming year, management and the board are really going to be diving into updated multi-year forecast where we'll really be looking at kind of when we see returning to profitability, and then in kind return to paying out patronage refunds. John, do you have anything you want to add there?
No, I think, Eric, what you shared is absolutely accurate. I think just to say that in the last few years with obviously the South End expansion, we expected that was going to be a pretty significant investment. The South End expansion cost about $20 million. And that's everything from the purchase of the land to the building of the building to all the environmental work to clean up the land that was required. And I would say that, I think we should be very proud of that because this land has never been any cleaner than it's ever been. And that's really taken into account in terms of its close proximity to the lake, and also really to have said that we have done our due diligence to this community. With that said, Eric's absolutely right that with the pandemic, we had been on a very good trajectory in terms of our sales, and slightly exceeding what we had forecasted when we initially put together what they call a pro forma to look at when the co-op might become profitable again. At that time, we anticipated that we were going to be potentially profitable as early as 2023, so that would be in a couple of years' time. However, with the pandemic, and unlike a number of other grocery stores, and partially driven by the fact that we really prioritize safety, that we limited customer capacities, we certainly enforced the mandated masks, and we certainly had some challenges around supply. That we were not able to maintain the same momentum around our sales over the last couple of years. We anticipated this, and we worked closely with the board to set some numbers that we thought were reasonable, and they are certainly behind what we felt we could have been in this position if it were maybe a couple of years ago. So all that being said, I think it's going to take certainly longer than the 2 years' time to get back to profitability, but we're working closely with the board, and by the end of this financial year, plan to have a financial reforecast that will show a path back to profitability in future years. So really just in the midst of doing that due diligence, but we feel very confident that in the meantime, during a period of this unprofitability, which essentially means that we are tapping into savings, we are still able to maintain, obviously, operations, and we'll continue to do so in a responsible way, and hopefully sooner rather than later, get back to profitability.
Great, thank you both. Got a few more. Megan is asking, what will it take to raise cashier wages, and what is the pay percentage difference between the lowest and highest paid employees?
Great question, Megan. So on the first part, once again, we have an existing contract between the union and management. And so that will be coming up for renegotiation next June. So by that point, which, by the way, that contract includes a wage scale, we will certainly be revisiting that situation for a new future contract post next June. As it relates to the wage range, for a starting staff person here at the lowest grade, the amount is $13.26, I believe, and then it can go up to as high as a little over $20, $20.40 for a starting position, depending on the grade, which is depending on the position. So that range of $13.26 to $20.40 is the starting wage for a person, depending on the position. And that's currently in the contract, but once again, that contract is set to go through until next June, at which point we would certainly hope to have a new contract in place as of July 1st that will have a new wage scale in it.
Thanks, John. This one is a comment, but wanted to offer you the opportunity to speak on that as well. It says, please consider requiring masks on all floor employees during senior 7 to 8 a.m. hours.
Just to say that, no, thank you for that comment. We recognize that in terms of what we are recommending right now, which is the CDC's recommendation to wear masks when indoors. And at this point, we are going to continue to track and follow the guidelines that are coming from the state of Vermont as well as the CDC, and continue to remain very vigilant. We do also want to say that one of the challenges that we had when we were mandating masks, and I think members and certainly customers know that we were probably one of the last, if not the last place, to lift the mask mandate, which was on mid-June earlier this year, was its enforcement. And that it's a little sad to share some of this, but as much as the majority of customers we had coming to our stores were so cooperative, so understanding, and really following our mandate, our staff really struggled to enforce the mask mandate with customers every day, where it became extremely challenging. And some of it was quite verbally intimidating. But we also had some physical intimidation as well. And once again, it's not something that happens all the time, but it certainly happened enough, and it was extremely challenging. So we're trying to really balance when we talk about safety, certainly with the pandemic, but also the safety of our staff. And so we'll continue to monitor the situation and do the best job we can as it relates to mask wearing within our stores.
Thanks, John. This is the last question we'll be able to do this evening, and I will put that email in the chat so folks can follow up with us with other specific inquiries. But this one feels timely since tomorrow is Thursday. We have an anonymous attendee asking, for bulk up Thursdays, how can I use my own containers?
So with bulk up Thursdays, you should be able to come into our stores and certainly use our containers. We certainly have not created any limitations on that. So I would say that we'd encourage people to use their own containers. I think the challenge is always trying to understand the weight of the products within those containers. So having one where it's empty versus what the actual weight of the product is the ongoing challenge, but something that I'm sure we can work through. And certainly with the timeliness of tomorrow, if you do email us, we'll certainly address it. But I think, Eric, you might have a comment on this, maybe some firsthand experience.
Yeah, some firsthand experience. I think it's a great idea to bring in your own containers. And I've brought in glass containers before for the bulk section. And from past experience, if you go up to the front end first, they'll weigh it and put a little sticker on saying the weight. And then you can get the difference when you pay.
Great. So once again, thank you, members, for your questions. And certainly if you have any additional ones, do feel free to email us at info@citymarket.coop. But just wanted to really thank members for joining us this evening. It's been great to be able to share some context, some information, and certainly a reflection back on the last year. We continue to really appreciate your support. We welcome your feedback, and we'll strive to continue to improve and best serve you, our members, our customers, and the broader community. So with that, certainly for myself and our staff here, thank you so much, and good night.
And good night.